Welcome back to the Pocket Jacks podcast, final episode of the season, where I'm joined by Jack Johnston, myself, Jack Collier. It is the end of the college football playoffs, and we are here to crown a national championship for the 2025-2026 season. Jack, welcome back.
Yeah,
Excited for the last episode.
I'm pumped for it too. And for those of you that were watching the Golden Globes on Sunday, and you didn't see us in attendance because we weren't invited, but unfortunately, the Pocket Jacks podcast did not win Podcast of the Year. I was hoping we were going to be in the running, but maybe next year.
Maybe next year. We're doing our due diligence and putting an episode out every week, and maybe it's the picks we're giving out that faulted us in the voters' eyes.
Yeah, that was the tiebreaker. We lost to Amy Schumer. She must have been giving out some locks.
Well, like we stated, final podcast of the year. It's actually not the 20th podcast of Pocket Jacks as well. Uh, so we have Indiana, Miami. It is a very highly anticipated matchup. Uh, I don't know. It's kind of a weird game for a national championship game, but we'll see how it goes. Transfer portal has heated up a lot this week. We've had some big names go. Levitt obviously went to LSU. Dante Moore is staying at Oregon as of today, and Dylan Raiola will be playing underneath him and rehabbing that leg for the 2026-2027 season. Um, what else are you seeing out there, Jack?
Yeah, I also saw kind of an under the radar one for people who aren't super locked into college football, but Deuce Knight, he was the backup QB for Auburn, super highly rated prospect. He goes to Ole Miss, and Chambliss, right after the game, unfortunately, was denied his final year of eligibility, which is rare. I don't know why they denied him. I would like to see how this is a case by case statement, but yeah, so he might be someone to watch out for. And then Indiana, Miami, just like we predicted to start the season, just like everybody predicted. Um, Indiana touchdown favorite in the national championship, absolutely dismantling everybody in their path. I mean, beat Oregon just as bad, if not worse, than they beat Alabama, and then Miami. We're definitely we praise Miami, but at the same time, we kind of questioned throughout the season when is this going to end with the Cristobal Carson Beck combo, but it might be two crazies make a sane person. I don't know exactly, but it seems like it's kind of a match made in heaven, and they're winning games.
Yeah, kind of just to go back quickly on the portal, there was, well, Notre Dame side of things. I just have to say one thing. We were the only college football team in college football without a single commit up until Monday, and then Monday, Tuesday had pretty good days getting guys. But I did see a tweet about the transfer portal that I thought was pretty funny, and I wanted to share with you. I don't know if you saw this at all, but the tweet is 90% of the transfer portal is teams letting guys they overpaid leave for other teams so they can overpay the players the other teams are letting leave. He said it's one big musical chairs of mediocrity. And that is just, I think that is so accurate. Like,
Yeah,
just getting rid of guys. It's just like a recycling center.
it totally is. And the thing that I've been seeing, I'm sure you've been seeing a little bit of this, is I think we're starting to see a little bit of donor fatigue. I saw Troy Aikman said he's done with NIL. He paid someone really a ton, didn't even get a thank you letter. The guy transfers 1 year later. For these multi millionaires and even for some school billionaires, there's no return here. You're just giving your money away for the happiness of your team. And if you have that much money, great. But I think the middle is kind of falling out where, people that are making solid middle class money, it's like I'm not giving 5, 10 grand to my school every single year for us to win 8 games and have that kid leave the next year.
Yeah, and it is kind of getting out of hand. But then there's some other, like Indiana, for example. There's a lot of people buying in, and Indiana's got some crazy money and some big alums that have went there. Obviously, we've seen a lot about Mark Cuban in these last couple weeks, Larry Bird, and then just a lot of other people that maybe aren't that well known, but also have a ton of money. And I don't know, kind of a smaller tidbit that proves all this money. is Indiana's last game. How many Indiana fans were there compared to Oregon fans? It sounded like it was unreal. The fans travel well. They have the money to do it. Um, God, there might have been more Notre Dame fans at that last game than there was Oregon fans. So it was it was pretty crazy how many fans Indiana was able to group together and put in that stadium against Oregon. And I don't think they're really going to skip a beat when it comes to this national championship game. I know it's in Miami. I know it's Miami's actual home stadium too. Um, but I saw just a little rumor, according to flight data and hotel data, there was 20, well, according to flight data and hotel data, um, the Indiana fans are going to have quite a few people here. Sounds like 20,000 tickets were allocated to each team, and then 25,000 corporate tickets were sent out as well to make 65,000 total. 80% of the 25,000 corporate tickets allotted are going to Indiana fans. Rumor has it.
And have you been seeing the price of this game? We talked about the price of the Brawl of the Wild, which is insane. This is Super Bowl level prices.
It's like
$1,000 to get
three.
in.
Yeah, I was gonna say fucking $3,000 to get in, $600 parking pass. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And don't even not even counting for Indiana fans, the hotel, the travel. And Miami's just one of those schools where they have a fan base, but I don't know if their fan base really lives in Miami. Like they're just not
Now
like
the thing,
when they're playing just a middle of the road home ACC game, their stadium's empty. Like let's just call it what it is.
yeah, and I think the thing about Miami is we're gonna see a lot of Miami fans come out of the woodshed here. I
Yes.
mean, it's it's like a bandwagon fan base. When they're good, they'll be there. When they're not good, they will not be there. So I think we'll see a lot of fans come out. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I think it's going to be maybe a 60-40 split in favor of Indiana, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, and going back to that Indiana Oregon, I've never in my life seen a playoff game that far down have that big of a crowd disparity. I mean, the only Oregon fans you could really see when just looking at the stadium was the band. And then it was just red. And we had an Oregon buddy that was there. And Oregon shows up. It's not like Oregon doesn't travel. It's Indiana. They just, I mean, this is, if I'm an Indiana fan, you're like, this could be once in a lifetime. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome to see. And you mentioned it briefly a second ago. I mean, great stories on both sides here. And it just makes me wonder, what is your take on this? Because this is obviously one of the greatest stories in sports. There's quite a few others to go along. Miracle on Ice, um, the '83 NC State team in March Madness in the NCAA tournament, Tiger Woods in the 2019 Masters, Jesse Owens in the Berlin Olympics. Where does this rank if Indiana wins as greatest sports stories?
Yeah, well, first off, I'm glad you threw Tiger in there on 2019 because I was about to throw him in. I'll just kind of sort it into team versus individual. So I'll just put Indiana as a team. And I think the only one that goes up there is Miracle on Ice. Like, I mean, that's when we had college athletes playing the best professionals in the world, somehow won the gold medal in hockey. Actually excited to watch the Olympics again. But Indiana, we've said it a million times, they were the worst team in college football, not for like a couple years, for decades. Like 50 years, they were the worst team. And now they're going to win the national championship. And the graphics are being put up next to 2019 LSU, which I didn't think we were ever going to see that.
Yeah, and I still don't completely buy into that. I don't know. Maybe as a team, they're better than the 2019 LSU team. I don't think this offense is anywhere near it. I mean, Joe Burrow had like 30 more touchdown passes than Fernando
Yeah.
Mendoza. I know they had the same yards and same picks or whatever, but I mean, that offense was far better than this offense, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, it is impressive what they're doing. They're killing teams. I was trying to think last time they had a close game, and I think you have to go back to Penn State actually, when Penn State was coachless and quarterbackless, and somehow managed to make it a game.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State and Ohio State kind of played with them in the Big Ten championship, but I mean, they're just mowing teams over. It's like Penn State, Ohio State, Old Dominion were the three teams that like really gave Indiana any sort of sweat. I think Iowa hung in there. Oregon was around, but I mean, they've won three ranked matchups by 50 points almost throughout the
Yeah,
season.
it is crazy. Um, and we wanted to kind of just recap the season before we get into this national championship and giving picks. Uh, Jack came up with an idea with six kind of questions or I don't know, statements that you're supposed to answer. So we'll go down the list here. We've got six of them, but we'll go two at a time. So starting with the first two, best game and favorite moment of the 2025 season. And I'll just lead us off here with the best game. There was a lot to choose from here. We've talked about one in particular, being Georgia Ole Miss earlier in the season, but I'm actually going to go to a weird game, UCLA Penn State. When Penn State played in UCLA, UCLA was on their interim head coach with Jerry Neuheisel or whatever, however pronounce his last name, and it was a shootout. I mean, it was crazy. I think UCLA was actually winless going into this game. This might have been the first win of this season for them.
Yeah.
And Penn State had James Franklin and they had Drew Aller and they had all their guys. So yeah, UCLA Penn State, my best game, favorite game of the year.
I love that because at that point in time, Penn State Natty was still on for Penn State fans. Like
Yeah.
they just lost to Oregon, but it was like everything's right in front of you. I mean, you're never. I forgot about that one. That one's a good one. That's kind of what I wanted to do. It just talk about the games that we forgot. I actually wrote down three game of the years, so I had three, two, one. My number three spot was a Friday game, and it was Florida State at Virginia, the storm of the year.
I looked at that. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's when Florida State was still rolling. Number two, I had Indiana at Penn State. Thought that game was great. And then my number one game is the game that just happened a few weeks ago, Georgia Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. That game was great. A little recency bias, but it was just a great game.
Yeah. Love those picks. Moving on to the favorite moment. Do you want to lead us off here?
Yeah, so I got two. I have one from the season, then one from the pod. My one from the season was one of the games that I just mentioned. It was the late touchdown that Indiana had with Omar Cooper against Penn State, the miraculous catch on the back of the end zone, the drive, Gus the Bus Johnson. That was the one moment where I remember just sitting there watching the game and actually just having goosebumps up and down my body just because it was like, wow, we should have just put a future on Indiana right then. Just felt like this is their year.
Yeah, and God, drive of the year, 90 yards in under 90 seconds with possibly the catch of the year to
Yeah.
take the lead in a close game. So that was really cool. My
And
favorite
then
moment. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and then I just had a quick one just for our podcast. The best moment of the year, and I think you know this one, is when our Matir and Chipotle
Oh
TikTok
yeah.
went extremely viral. It's up to, I just checked today, 127,000 views, still growing every time I go on there. We would get on the phone and be like, dude, you just got to refresh. The views are going up 100 or 1,000 at a time every time you refresh. So that was great.
Fun to watch for sure. And then my favorite moment is actually a post-game presser, and I'm just going to play the clip so that everyone gets to listen to it because it's fantastic. Now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go. Quote of the year, Fernando Mendoza. How can you not love him?
A lot of good flips in the season for us. He was a guy we didn't talk about early, but he brought the juice all year for us.
Yeah. Okay, now moving on to the next two. Uh, these are these are both about bets, and we'll just go worst bet, worst beat, and best bet. So I'll start it first. My best bet of the year. I mean, I think you would agree here. It's either our parlay with the defensive score in the Indiana Alabama playoff game, parlayed with Malachi Tony touchdown in a one touchdown game, which cashed and was huge plus money. So that was awesome. The other one that I put up there is Indiana over 8.5 wins. They are looking to get their 16th win of the season, and the line was 8.5. I know it's only regular season, but to think that they almost doubled the over under is like unheard of.
That's an amazing bet. And yeah, for what I put down for the best bet of the year was that parlay. The anytime touchdown from the defense in OU Alabama was crazy. And then Malachi Tony anytime wasn't as crazy odds, but the fact that that game had one touchdown and it was Malachi Tony at the very end was just like the cherry on top. So that by far and away was my favorite bet of the year.
Yeah, that was so fun. Worst beat of the year. I actually had a tough time coming up with this, and you were able to help me out. Looking back on it, North Carolina played Virginia maybe week 6, week 7, somewhere in the middle of the year. Uh, Virginia was ranked at the time in the top 25, and it ended up going to overtime where Virginia scored first, kicked the PAT. North Carolina then scored and elected to go for 2 point for the 2 point conversion and ends up not getting it by literally an inch. So um, I had North Carolina money line there at like plus 300, huge plus EV bet, and it ended up not cashing by an inch.
I love it. Yeah, that my bad beats, they just stick in my brain a little different. I couldn't come up with the best bet, but I had a list of bad beats that I went through and I wrote down two of them. And the first one I know you're going to remember because we were watching this together. We had a two-leg parlay. Baylor minus 3.5 and Cal plus 4.5. Baylor plays in the 10 a.m. slot. They win 30-3. They cover easily. Cal in the afternoon slot is down 3. So we're within the number, the plus 4.5. Stops Virginia on like the 20-yard line and gets the ball back with 30 seconds and throws a pick six for us to lose the parlay. That was
Yeah,
brutal.
they just had to run the clock and it would have been over.
Or even a turnover on downs, we were fine because they were gonna, or just anything that wasn't a pick six is the only way we could get screwed. And
Yeah,
the
because
other one I wrote down, which is just my own individual, was Ole Miss at Georgia the first go around in the regular season. I had Ole Miss plus 7.5. It was 35-26. Ole Miss was leading to start the fourth quarter, and the game went Georgia in the fourth quarter. It went Georgia touchdown, Ole Miss three and out. Georgia touchdown, Ole Miss three and out. Georgia field goal, Ole Miss four and out. Georgia wins by 8. That one was
God.
cold. And there was no punt all game before that, if you remembered. And Ole Miss just
Yep.
shit the bed.
Yeah, just went cold in the fourth quarter. I do remember that.
But I feel like
Fantastic game.
great game, but they avenged their loss. Came back against Georgia the next time.
Yep. Uh, Last two here, just our preseason picks that we had put together at the beginning of the year. Best preseason prediction and worst preseason prediction. For myself, my worst preseason prediction was every single one of them. My best preseason prediction was Indiana over 8.5 wins, and that is all I had.
Yeah, I for my worst prediction of the year, I predicted that Oregon State was going to be the Group of Five champion. They were 2-10, fired their coach, and then for the best take of the year, I didn't really have any good preseason takes, so I literally had to say Georgia Tech is a dark horse in the ACC, even though that take was still technically wrong. But yeah, I on my little note sheet I said best take of the year, and yours bold take was Indiana will be good again, and I think he undersold it.
Undersold it to say the least.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun little recap there. Gosh, we really struggle with our preseason predictions, so hopefully next year we can come back with some better ones. Let's get into the game. Uh, College Football National Championship, where we are crowning the 2025-2026 winner. This is being played in Miami Gardens, Florida at Hard Rock Stadium, which is home to the Miami Hurricanes. Indiana favored by 8.5 here with a total of 47.5. And the first thing I wanted to bring up here, well, I guess before that, this series is tied at 1-1. The last two matchups of these teams have been in 1964 and 1966, so they have not matched up in about 40 years, or sorry, about 60 years. Um, but my first talking point here, I don't know if you've seen it rolling around. It obviously doesn't carry a lot of weight, but I just think it's hilarious. Now that Indiana is good and they haven't lost a game, people are accusing them of cheating. And I've seen a tweet of them um, getting gaining access to some sort of software where they're able to watch practice film on other teams and other opponents. I don't think this is true at all, but God, 15-0, you got to accuse them of something.
I love that. You know what? I that just put a random thought in my head. You know how this year in college they added the where the QB has the mic in his helmet and they can just talk because of Stallions? I've seen a lot of schools, even high level schools, just using a radio. Why is somebody on another team just dialing their radio into that channel and listening to every single play call?
Yeah, get on the same channel and get every play call from them.
Yeah, Connor Stallions.
Exactly. But let's get into a little bit more of this game. Should be a fun game. I know it's an 8.5 point spread, but it is a national championship, so you're cheering for a fun game when you don't have a dog in the fight. At least I am. Uh, and then there's a lot of history here between these coaches. Corey Heatherman, defensive coordinator of Miami. He was under Signetti at JMU for most of the time, other than that final year he was at JMU. Um, Offensive coordinator for Indiana, Mike Shanahan. He's been with Signetti through all of it. So it's pretty cool to see them finally reach their goal. It's every coach's, every player's goal to get to the national championship and to win a national championship. So it'll be fun to have those two together throughout this entire journey. And then defensive coordinator for Indiana, Brian Haynes, worked under Corey Heatherman for that time at JMU when they were all together. So just a lot of continuity in this coaching staff. And I don't know how that's going to affect the game exactly, but we'll see. I don't know if it's going to give an advantage to Indiana of kind of knowing what Heatherman likes to do, or if it's going to give an advantage to Miami because Heatherman knows what Mike Shanahan likes to do. Um, so that'll be interesting. This is one of those games to me where, I mean, we've looked at Miami and they've looked pretty good as far as like the offensive line, the defensive line. They're kind of in this position because of how good they run the ball, and nobody has ran the ball on Indiana. So it's kind of how they got here. It's a clash of two strong suits, and neither one of them at this point in the season are going to change who they are to adapt to the other side. So I don't know. I think Indiana wins this game. However, there's a part of me that sees Miami in this game like I don't know. They could win this game still. I know they're 8.5 point favorites, and I know Indiana has looked amazing, uh, but Miami's tough. Like all it takes is a couple things to go their way, and this changes entirely. It's going to be a dogfight. I think Miami's also a really physical team, and they're going to rough you up even after the whistle, maybe. Uh, so it's going to be a fun watch, and it kind of gives me a weird vibe of I know I wasn't really that old, but 2007 Giants versus the undefeated Patriots, and they end up winning. Not saying that Carson Beck's Eli Manning in 2007, but Hey, there's always this is why the game has to be played because there's always a chance of the big underdog winning. So as a cheer bet, I'm gonna go Indiana or sorry, Miami plus the 8.5. I do, however, hope Indiana wins outright.
Yeah, no, I love all the things you said about this game. You know what was the most shocking part to me about this game? And if you could have bet this preseason, it had to be plus 1 million. This is an Adidas on Adidas matchup. No
Oh wow.
Nike, no Under Armour. You don't see that very often. I mean, there's got to only be a large handful of Adidas team. Like I think they're the third most popular uniform. Um, but like you said on the actual game, Miami is here because of their defensive line, number one, and their offensive line, number two, how they can protect Beck and how they can run the ball. And Indiana is here because they execute like CPU on a video game. They just don't make mistakes. They're always in the right spot. They're perfectly coached. I'm gonna take Indiana here minus 8.5. The one thing that you can compare is Miami beat Ohio State harder by more, dominated the game more than Indiana did. They did play Ohio State better than Indiana, in my opinion, in that playoff game compared to Indiana in the Big Ten championship. I just think Indiana, they execute too well. Miami, too, against Ole Miss. If they would have lost that game, it would have been the collapse. They dropped 3 picks. They were turning the ball over. Penalties, like just late hit penalties and mental mistakes. You cannot make mental mistakes against Indiana. But I would like to see a close game. I'm just going to take Indiana minus the 8.5. Keep it simple. I got still a little juice left in this bowl mania too, so I'll be on Indiana there if anybody's listening.
Perfect. One little tidbit about this game, aside from the game, is Mrs. Mendoza, the mother of Fernando, actually played tennis at Miami way back in the day when she went there. Fernando sent his tape in there, tried to go to Miami. They didn't want him. He ended up going to Cal, and then following Signetti to Indiana. So maybe a little revenge factor, little family ties to Miami in that Mendoza family. So maybe there's a little extra chip on the shoulder there.
Just a quick Google. I can't believe this isn't a bigger storyline. Mendoza's from Miami.
Oh, real? The whole family?
At least Fernando. That's what I just Googled Fernando Mendoza hometown. It said Miami, Florida. So I guess he's going back home. And how many family members is he going to have there?
Yeah.
He's going to get more than Pavia?
I don't know about that. That Pavia clan travels tough. Uh, but yeah, it's just should be a good game. We hope it's a good game. Uh, you always want to see a decent game in the national championship, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You have anything else on this game?
I do have this, and you might like it, being on Fernando. It's going to be the song of 2025-2026 college football championship. The Indiana
That's gonna
Hoosiers and Fernando Mendoza, a saint sent down from heaven. I
that's
love it.
that's gonna be Indiana's new like third to fourth quarter song. Even when he's gone, they're gonna keep playing that 'cause this season is their. I mean, this got to be their first ever banner of anything that they're hanging, and they're hanging two of 'em with the Big Ten in the potential natty. I mean, it's not like he said though. It's not just some automatic that Indiana's gonna win this game. I mean, Miami's here for a reason.
Yeah, and you never know what can happen, penalties and turnovers, stuff like that. Uh, yeah, hang a banner, fucking build a statue for Kurt Signetti and Fernando Mendoza. I did see that they have temporarily named a pond in Bloomington D'Angelo's Pond because they have a defensive back on the team named D'Angelo Ponds. So they've named the pond after him. I don't know how long that's going to last, uh, but geez, name something after Fernando.
Yeah, I mean,
Guy's
come
great.
on. Dude, I
He's
saw something. Now that you said that, Pons, he's a stud. I know that from my dynasty, no big deal. But he is actually a stud. Um, Stanford Steve said a thing, and I should have written it down because I can't remember if it was 4 or 5. This season, Indiana has an interception on the first two play of the game in 4 games.
Jeez.
Like, that's just next level.
Yeah, that interception against Oregon to start the game was crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. We got anything for the pod for anybody that's still dialed in? Obviously, we're going to be taking a little time off. We'll be back week 0 next year. We've talked about maybe doing like a March Madness episode or a Masters episode, maybe a Super Bowl episode. Who knows? We don't have a ton of plans, but I think we know we'll be back for next college football season for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go, Jack, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. I want your in order top 5 early best teams of the year in college football next year. Now, this doesn't have to be what the AP comes out with as preseason poll. This is your personal who you think is the best 5 in college football next year. I can go first since I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. I'll go in order. Number 1, I'm going Texas. They're dominating the portal. They have a great recruiting class. They've got money. I like them. I like them a lot next year. Number 2, I'm going Oregon. I think they return a lot of starters. They obviously return their quarterback, and they return most of that O-line from what I'm seeing. Number 3, I'm going Notre Dame. Notre Dame's returning a lot of starters. They're starting to get some traction in the portal, and between the portal and their freshman class, I think they're up there in maybe the top 2 of all the rankings. Number 4, I'm going to Indiana. I think Indiana is old. They're obviously going to be losing Fernando. They're going to be losing some other key pieces on that offensive line. Surratt at wide receiver, but they've been dominating the portal. They've got a lot of money. I think that they're going to reload and still look pretty good next year. And then number 5, I'm going Ohio State. And the only reason Ohio State's not above Indiana is because they lost to Indiana and they lost in the playoffs. So Ohio State at 5, they're obviously returning Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sayin, and then probably some more pieces as well. But I imagine they reload with the money that they have over there too in Columbus. So top 5, Texas, Oregon, Notre Dame, Indiana, Ohio State. Those will be the best 5 teams in college football next year. I can guarantee it.
Write it down. We'll come back next. Let's see. I like that. So I've told you this many times. I'm really high on Texas next year. So I'll go Texas at 1. I did really start to see some growth from Arch towards the end of the year too, where I think he is a legitimate Heisman candidate next year. I'm with you. I like Oregon with Dante Moore coming back. I know they got banged up and it wasn't a great end of the season, but every time you were watching an Oregon game, all you could hear from the commentators is how young they are. So I don't think they're going to really lose a lot, which is rare. I'm going to go with number 3. I'm going to go Ohio State, getting Sayin back, getting Jeremiah Smith back. I think those guys are going to be 2 of the best players in the country, and Ryan Day will be back. Let's see here. I'm going to go number 4. I'm going to go Georgia. I believe Gunnar Stockton is coming back, and they've gone 2 straight years where they've lost their first playoff game, and Kirby, I just think he's too good. I think they'll be back right at the top. And I'm going to go with a sleeper for number 5. Well, out of the clouds here. I'm going to go Michigan. After everything that they've gone through, getting Bryce Underwood back, they are upgrading that much at head coach, in my opinion. I think Sharon Moore was a horrible coach, and I think Kyle Whittingham is one of the a top 20 college football coach of all time at this point. I heard a thing that Bryce Underwood, they didn't have a QB coach last year, so he just didn't get better, which makes sense. So yeah, give me Michigan to kind of make some splash next year. Kyle Whittingham.
I like it. Well, signing off for the last time of the 2025-2026 college football season. Everybody enjoy the national championship.
Love you guys.